Hello adventurers, and welcome back to my channel. Today we are in Junction City, Kansas, where I found a little roadside pull-off that you might be interested in. You know I like to follow a lot of history on this channel, and this one is for you guys at home who are just like me. So let's roll the intro and let me show you where I am. Now, for those of you who follow history, you might be familiar with the story of the Buffalo Soldiers. For those of you who have missed it, I'm about to give you a recap right now. We are today at a Buffalo Soldier Memorial Park. I've never seen one of these, and it is absolutely amazing to see such an awesome place dedicated to those brave men who served. This was dedicated in October of 2000, and we're going to check it out. So behind us right here, we have the 10th Cavalry Regiment Ready and Forward Insignia. This has the actual buffalo on it, and they were saying that in the information that I read, this was a signal of pride, and many of the men who served were so proud to call themselves Buffalo Soldiers because at the time they were fighting for their own freedoms, and they were fighting to preserve the land that they wanted to have as a better tomorrow. Here we have the insignia for the cavalry itself, and as you can see here, it's two crossed swords. That's pretty common with all cavalry, but the Buffalo Soldiers, as they were a part of the cavalry, also boasted this insignia. Now, this insignia would be found on their uniforms, usually on the shoulder area. That's where I've seen it on most uniforms, and it's pretty cool to know that this was a common link between all soldiers. It didn't matter who they were, where they came from, what their creed or race were. They all flew under the same kinds of insignias while fighting for their rights here in the United States. Now this one right here is the 9th Cavalry Regiment, and it says here, "We can, we will." At the time that the Kansas troops specifically were in play, there were a lot of things going on with the Native Americans, and there were battles waging on both sides. So that's why this particular insignia was at the time used. Now, just like our other adventures, whenever we go to a historic site, I just want to provide the facts for you guys. What's going on at the time and the climate, and then from there we can grow and make awesome decisions to make a better tomorrow. So, my whole point in coming to places like this is to educate as to what is available out there and learn a little bit more about some of the groups that are usually not covered quite as well in the history books. I think that it's really important to get all of the facts. And this site is great because around the entire site they have signs telling the history of the area, the history of the soldiers, and so much more. So right here we have something about Fort Riley and the Buffalo Soldiers. Fort Riley is situated on the site of the first recommended for a military post by the great pathfinder John C. Fremont in 1852. This goes on to tell a little bit more about Fort Riley. This tells us a little bit more about the mission statement to bring this particular site to life. It says here that the committee is organized for the sole purpose and funding of building a fitting memorial that recognizes the accomplishments of the Buffalo Soldiers from the 9th and 10th Cavalry Regiments. On this last one, it talks a little bit about Junction City. Junction City, of course, being the town that we are currently in. It lets us know what makes it so significant and special here in Kansas. Now, it is important to note that the Buffalo Soldiers from the 9th and 10th served from 1866 all the way up until 1944. So there was a massive amount of time for which these men bravely were serving. And it's very important to always acknowledge those veterans who have spent so much of their life dedicating to the service of others. As we see here, this particular soldier is right next to his horse. Now this is significant because of course the cavalry always is known for being the guys who ride in on the horse and save the day. He's wearing his uniform, which is adorned with his insignias and patches, and he has on the typical hat that you would find of a cavalry rider. When we take a closer look, his horse is packed down with all of the supplies that you would typically find, and there's even a little brand right here on the horse that says US, which was very common at the time. The details here are crazy, even down to the spurs that he's wearing. Now, much like many of the memorial sites that we visit, there is this large brick area that you can purchase bricks to support the memorial itself and memorialize friends, family members, people who have served. And right here below us, you'll see that we have Sergeant Austin Wells, who served in the 10th Cavalry from 1916 to 1923. And then right here, Sergeant Cecil Lucky, who was in the 9th Cavalry, 2nd MBC. And it just keeps going on and on and on. Now, I have been to countless veterans parks and things like that, and it always strikes a special place in my heart because I know that those people were so unselfish when it came to their service, and I appreciate them. So thank you if you're watching at home and you have been in any form of armed services. Now, last but not least, I wanted to show this. This is from the Army Chief of Staff that was given to Junction City in 2000. It is the official correspondence that was sent to them. It has been put in bronze so that we can see this forever and always, and it is absolutely amazing. Thanks again, guys, for coming out with me today to Junction City, Kansas, where we found the Buffalo Soldier Memorial Park. I know today is a little bit of a shorter video, but when I find places like this, I want to share them with you so you at home can be inspired to find places like this that are closer to you. It is so important for us to get out and honor our veterans and to visit the sites that tell a little bit more of the story than we can find in our history books. It is so important for us to acknowledge these people who have so bravely fought and served in the military, and it is so important for us to make sure that we continue to be the best people that we can by saying thank you.
African American soldiers wishing to remain in the United States Army following the Civil War were organized eventually into the 9th and 10th Cavalry Regiments. Their service during the conflict with the American Indians of the Great Plains proved invaluable, but went unpraised until recent times. Called many names, most of them derogatory, the soldiers of the two regiments were dubbed Buffalo Soldiers. Men of both regiments were proud of the title, and the 10th prominently featured a figure of a buffalo on the regimental crest. So between 1867 and 1891, the conclusion of the Sioux Indian troubles and the fight of the Drexel Mission in South Dakota, the 9th and 10th operated out of Fort Riley and Leavenworth, as well as Fort Hays, Larned, and Dodd.
So I think today's stop was really good, and learning what we just did from Mom's phone there, it paints the full picture. You can find information online, but being able to see things a little bit more in detail, I think was really good. Until next time, guys, if you've liked today's video, make sure that you leave a thumbs up, hit the subscribe, and check out the interactive map for more historic and also fun things all over the country. Bye, guys!